everyone, it's Clarice and today I'm going to be reviewing You. Not you, the viewer, but You, the book by Caroline Kepnes. You follows a man named Joe, and one day Joe meets a girl named Beck. And even though their meeting isn't long, he is immediately infatuated with her. He just felt this instant connection between the two of them. And so he did what was to him the most logical next step to take. He proceeded to try to find out as much as he could about her school, about her likes, about her dislikes, about her love life. And of course he had to follow her to her house too and watch her from her open window. But to him, of course he's not a stalker because he can't call it stalking if the two of you were meant to be together. I think it goes without saying that Joe is a psycho. And I haven't actually read a lot of psychological thrillers or even mystery books or just books of that sort in general, but clearly I need to read more. I picked this book up because it's been gaining a lot of hype here in BookTube recently, and it sounded so interesting that even though it's not my usual genre of book to read, I really haven't given it a chance yet, and I thought this would be a good book for me to kind of explore this genre more. The first thing I want to talk about is Joe. Joe, as I said, is the main character. He is the stalker, he is the psycho, he is the person that basically just makes this story what it is. And I really enjoyed having Joe as the main character, not because I in any way agreed with what he did, but because I enjoyed reading his commentary on the world and society and his observations on just random people. I always appreciate a character that loves books, and Joe works in a bookstore, and a lot of books were mentioned in this book. Not books that I've read, but now because I've read this book, I really feel like I should try reading some Stephen King or Dan Brown. And also, of course, the story wouldn't be nearly as interesting as it was without Joe's extremely psychotic side. What's weird is there were definitely times when I kind of forgot myself and lost myself in this story and would actually kind of subconsciously feel myself even rooting for Joe. And it's right at that moment when Joe would say something just so psychotic that I would be reminded that nobody should root for someone like Joe. I also love how some of the things that Joe thinks or says, taken out of context, could actually seem really romantic and sweet, but in context, it's just so creepy. This book was definitely unsettling at points. Even though Joe was a psycho the entire time, there were a couple of moments in there that Joe just went full psycho. And at those points, it got pretty crazy, as you can imagine. Despite that, I wasn't like scared out of my mind by this book. I expected myself to be a lot more paranoid after reading this book, and while I'm glad that I'm not insanely paranoid and thinking that everyone I meet is going to stalk me, I was a bit underwhelmed because, again, of all the hype that has gone into this. But again, it was definitely an unsettling book to read, especially at certain points. As with all psychos, no matter what crazy things or terrible things Joe does, he always thinks that he's doing the right thing. I always say this in my reviews, that I love being put inside the mind of the main character. It's really easy to just lose yourself in the story that way. And normally I like that in books because it makes me more emotional. It makes me so sympathetic for the people. In this book, I was inside the head of this main character, but not in a way that I've ever been before. Joe's head is a freaking creepy place to be in. Another thing I appreciated in this book was Beck, the girl that is being stalked by Joe. I recently watched Chapter Stack's review on this book, which I will link down below, and she mentioned that what kind of differentiates this book from the other books that involve stalkers or creepy people like that was that in most of those books, the victim is portrayed as this really virtuous, this really kind of delicate person. And Beck is not like that at all. Beck has a lot of problems herself. She has some serious issues, and she's by no means just this delicate, innocent little doll. And another thing I really enjoyed in this book was the way it was written. Because again, it really put you inside this psycho's head, and it was especially creepy because I'm sure, as a lot of people have mentioned, this book is kind of told in the second person in a way. Mainly, it is told that way in the sense that Joe The whole time that he's thinking, he always refers to Beck not as Beck, but as you. You know, like, you walked into the bookstore, you did this, you look like that, I don't think you were wearing a bra. And it made it so much more unsettling. But besides that part of the writing, I also like the humor of the writing at times. Generally, I just like it when things are written like extremely bluntly. I love blunt narrators and main characters. So overall, I really enjoyed reading this book. It was definitely a creepy book, and while I don't think it lived up to these massive expectations I had in my head, it was such an engrossing book, very difficult for me to put down, and I would definitely recommend it. If it sounds at all interesting to you, just try not to bring your expectations impossibly high like I did. So that was my review of You. If you've read this book or planning to read this book, I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. Please like this video if you liked it, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in my next video.